Oh, where? I don't even know where that is. Resort Hotel. It's a Business Pants Friday show here at June 13th Studios. Ooh, Friday the 13th, featuring analyst Hole Matt Moscardi. On today's weekly wrap up, Starbucks hires somebody.
What?
Drugs 1, McNuggets 0,
Oh.
and Two Face Texas.
Oh, mine sounds lamer than yours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Our show today is being sponsored by
Yes, it
FreeFloatAnalytics.com,
is.
the only
It is.
platform measuring board power, connections,
Listen to
and
that
performance
crowd.
for free.
Listen to that crowd.
I don't care about the crowd today. It's my first story is depressing, so I don't. The crowd should shut up.
All right. Do we want to just do? Let's just do this. Let's just jump
unless
right
you have
into
something
it.
to announce, unless you have something to say.
No, the thing I have to announce is I have nothing to announce except
Okay.
why don't you have a freeflowanalytics.com free account yet? Like, what if you're listening to this, you didn't just go there and sign up? Like there's so much data. I don't understand what you need. I don't understand who needs more.
Or how about this? Share the show with somebody you're sitting by at your
Yeah,
office.
whoever you're sitting next to. Well, you know what? You can even just go give it a 5-star, whatever you're listening to this
I don't
on.
even need that.
I mean,
Okay, actually, I'll take that too.
yeah, I'll take anything.
take anything.
Anything, people.
All right, stop
anything.
begging. Come on,
All right,
let's move.
go.
Come on.
All right. Story of the week. Story us up.
I don't even know how to. I mean, I don't know how to even. I don't know what to say about this. I don't have a takeaway other than it's a story we've long covered. We've long covered the issues at Boeing.
Oh,
So I do have to report that there's been, unfortunately, another crash, this time in India. The first fatal incident involving the 787 Dreamliner this time. I remind you that there were stories in the past where whistleblowers
yes.
were warning about this plane specifically, about
Yep.
about Boeing's corner cutting with safety checks, and but I don't want to make any grand takeaways. This could have been operating error, right? They don't know why this plane crashed, but this was out of Air India. A couple of other headlines that go along with the story, which just shows the ludicrousness,
Ludicrosity. Yeah.
That's not a word, is it? Ludicrosity
Of course, it's not a
of the
word.
business headlines. This headline: Business Boeing stock slides after Air India 787 Dreamliner crashes. Do we need that headline? Is that necessary?
I,
But why
It
do we
does
need that?
seem a little gratuitous. Like, obviously, that's going to happen. And is that really what the focus should be on?
No, not
Like-
maybe like 2 weeks from now you could report back and look at your data. And report back to us.
Did you see the video of the crash?
I mean, I kind of glanced at it. I don't generally like to look at that stuff. I did kind of the corner of my eye. I saw a fireball, and I felt really sick to my stomach.
There was a video. There's one survivor.
That's the part that is being shared the most over the news. That there's one guy, a British guy, somehow survived.
I like watched a lot of this. I was watching like a live stream of it.
You would.
Yeah, because I depressed myself.
Yeah.
I was watching a live stream of it when they cut to, we think this is a survivor because the guy basically
They actually cut to that
steps-
live. He's just
Yeah,
just
he
started
was walking
Oh my
away
God.
from the crash.
Yeah.
Right, like disoriented, confused. People were like surrounding him, and he was like trying, like he went right to like
Starbucks.
a hospital, and basically
Yeah.
was like, I think I was just like it was like so surreal.
It's horrible.
Everyone else is dead. I don't understand
Not
it
to
at all.
be not to be morbid and dark or have a horrible sense of humor, which I guess I have all those already. Do you think that the seat he was sitting in will be the #1 seat requested on all flights? For the
Excellent
history
question
of the world?
for the rest
Whatever
of time.
it was. I don't even know where
It was 11A, I think.
Okay,
or-
do you think
or something
that's
like
the
that.
#1 requested seat? I mean,
Honestly, I don't.
Jesus.
I don't know, but so far there's no. They haven't said it's Boeing's fault. Nobody like. There's going to be a while before we can say like this is
yeah, it could have
another.
been pilot error. Could have been all kinds of things. I suppose.
Well, let's just hold off in putting this feather in Dave Calhoun's cap for a little while. Let's just wait
What-
until all the information's in.
What it reminds me is, especially as my daughter has been traveling, and I always look to see whether it's what kind of aircraft it is. What it reminds me is that the stupid airline, the industry that makes airplanes, it's a stupid duopoly. It's two
Yep,
stupid
yep,
companies.
yeah.
Like
There's
that's
no
it.
other options. Yeah,
It's
it's just the two.
Airbus or Boeing, which sucks, kind of.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like. All right, that's the first story of the week. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. Second story of the week. This is a weird week. Starbucks. Yeah, I don't know. Why not, right?
Yeah, sure.
Starbucks.
Yeah, and we can go from massive plane crash to coffee company.
Well,
Sure.
this is the other one that made me laugh because of the Boeing crash did not make me laugh, but the headline did. So the story is Starbucks accelerates new staffing model to all company-owned North America stores, adding as many as 85,000 workers across more than 10,000 stores. Essentially, what they're doing is they're getting employees back to pre-COVID numbers. I think that's the genius, really.
Really, that's
I mean,
the
it's
genius.
really not much, right? Uh, but I did like that. I saw a headline that said that like Wall Street is worried, like Wall Street worries as Brian Nichols announces. It's like, come on, really? You're gonna worry? Just let people be hired, for Christ's sake.
And it's
Give
not
people a break. Give people a break.
it's not like a $200,000 a year job, right?
No,
Like,
it's really not.
These are not.
Although the union is still there's still an unknown ending to that story, right? There is no resolution.
I think he's negotiating as part of this hiring spree with
Okay.
the unions now.
But this will
which-
help him lower probably the wages, right? If they're telling the union we're going to add more, does it give him an opportunity to give them lower wages and worse benefits? Does this give him a leg up? I don't know.
No, I don't think that. But I do think the craziest part about the story is the reason why, right? Like, so Brian Nickel announced that they're going on this hiring spree and they're basically focusing on getting baristas, and
There's
they did
an
that
idea.
because they were trying to mechanize everything. They were trying to make it all automatic.
They're even going to use
And-
AI to help.
They were going to use AI to help, and now they sort of realized when people go to a coffee shop, they don't want to talk to Wally to get their coffee.
And they need just someone to actually give them a coffee.
They just want someone there who hands them a coffee.
Yeah.
And there's nobody there
Smile
because they
would be
fired
nice.
everyone.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get a machine where you press two buttons and everything pops out automatically. And the wait times are incredibly long. And I don't know if you've been to a Starbucks in the last few years.
I have. Not too
They're-
often.
They're not. I do remember when we started this company, I would
Yeah.
go to a Starbucks and work every single morning.
They used to be pleasant places.
And now they're like the Walmart
They're
of
horrible.
coffee shops. They're
corporate.
horrible.
They smell like bleach. The floors are like this hard tile.
I don't know what happened
They're
in the interim.
understaffed.
But
yeah.
but it's like
Overpriced.
everyone's miserable. So his grand innovation was to make the store comfortable and have people in it.
Yeah,
That was
here's-
just the grand innovation.
Here's the sidebar to this. There's headlines going around that Howard Schultz, who is the founder, still the biggest shareholder, the boomerang CEO 25 times. He's the real leader of this company. The headline is it says that he did a cartwheel when Starbucks CEO Nickel coined back to Starbucks strategy. The guy to blame here is Howard Schultz, right?
Yeah,
'Cause-
isn't he the guy who got rid of half of them?
yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm thinking. Like he's the one who kind of messed everything up, and then and is trying to fix it. And he fires CEOs, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And this is the guy to really look at.
it's something special.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, look, congrats to Brett. At least some executive came in and said, maybe humans are an answer for something.
Look, this just made me feel good. I mean, it felt. Think about
It's not,
all
it's
those.
not the worst. I don't
think
want.
about
I
all those
want
out
to
of
hate
work-
it, but I don't.
all the out of work humanities majors, all the English majors, all the.
They
right?
do have
all-
a massive talent pool of sort of
Italian majors.
ex-government employees too that they can draw from.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. All right, that's the second story of the week going on at Starbucks. The third, Netflix. We got to talk about Netflix. And now,
Again?
technically, this happened right after we signed off last week. So, but I did want a chance to wedge it in there. This actually happened, I think, last Friday, but it was after our show. So the big story here, again, this is like the nerdy story of the week. Although I think I have two nerdy stories of the week. Jay Hogue, lead independent director at Netflix. 78% of the vote against his reelection.
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of things to unwrap here, but let me start with this one. According to the company's director resignation policy, Jay has to immediately offer his resignation to the board, and then the nominating committee considers his resignation and then makes a decision. So the good part of this, Matt, there's two good parts of it. The good part of it is that Jay Hogue himself chairs the nominating committee, right?
I know.
But the second weird part of this is that he actually did not attend any of the nominating committee's meetings last year. So it makes you wonder, like, what's going to happen? Is he going to show up to the meeting where he decides his own fate, or
No, he can't. He must have to recuse himself.
Oh, stop! He's not going to recuse himself
and
That's
leave
so
it,
you're so cute.
and leave it in the hands of effectively
Reed Hastings. Stop.
like Susan Rice, who
No.
just joined the board this year. Like, she's going to decide whether
No.
Jay Hogue has a job
No.
at Netflix.
Well, okay. Here's the story behind the story. This is the second time. Okay, 2017 he was voted out. 55% against him. In 2014, this used to be a classified board, so he was only up for election every 3 years. In 2014, 49% said no. In 2011, 49. No, I have these dates wrong. 2020, 55%. 2017, 49%. 2014, 49.7%. The shareholders have hated him forever.
Yeah.
The other part of the story is that there have been 22. I tried to count them all since 2012. I don't know if I got them all. There have been 22 shareholder proposals that have won. They have actually gotten a majority. I don't know how. It's a miracle. They've somehow gotten a majority vote, including a simple majority vote got 9 wins. To repeal the classified board got 6 wins. A majority voting policy got 4 wins. And the biggest takeaway here is that Jay Hogue, who was the lead independent director and the nomination committee chair, got blamed for ignoring shareholders forever. So that's the background to this story, is that they've hated him forever, essentially, because he doesn't care what shareholders think.
Yeah. Well, when you look, it's hard enough to pass a shareholder proposal at all. And then when
That never happens.
the lead independent director decides, meh,
Yeah.
I'm not that interested in
And
even
again,
engaging on this.
This is the lead independent director who's been there since 1999, only 2 years after Reed Hastings, the founder, joined. In most jurisdictions, he would not be considered independent. He's not independent. It's just
No,
a
of course
loophole.
not.
It's an American loophole that he's called independent. So this is just such a strange case. It's so
But
strange.
It's worth saying we covered this in our show yesterday, the Proxy Countdown, our other show. And we went into great depth because we think, we're theorizing here, that one of the precipitating factors, the reason why it was such a high no vote,
Yes.
was actually not just that people don't like him because he ignores them, because last year he only got 9% against, right?
that's
Like
it, yeah.
91% in favor last year. No other factors were different last year, right? Like
You know, the thing that changed in 2022, I believe, is that the company finally acquiesced and they decided to declassify the board and they decided to eliminate supermajority voting provisions. So that got most of the heat off of Jay Hogue.
So he was 91% in favor last year, but this year he only made 50% of the board meetings.
Yeah.
And
Missed all of his nomination committee meetings.
And ISS and Glass Lewis and a lot of like pension fund policies have they have a nice line that says if you make less than 75%, we generally vote against you.
Generally, unless it's like medical issues, we've noticed they don't vote against
Medical
you.
issues, they
Although,
tend
do you
not
have to
to.
prove that? Do you need a
Although
doctor's note? I don't even know.
There were we did cover in the show that like Michael Hall at Monster Beverage got 99% of the vote and
Despite
missed
failing attendance.
75% failed attendance. So it's not like such a clear line that everyone gets voted out.
Yeah.
But
But
in
he
this
had a
case,
bloody nose, though. He had a bloody nose.
That's true. He did sneeze
He
in the
sneezed
meeting.
blood. He sneezed blood,
and they
yeah.
were really uncomfortable with
Yeah.
it. In this case, it is very strange that he got such a high no vote against. I'm
So
wondering,
high.
conspiracy theory, Matt wonders
So
whether
high.
or not like there's something happening behind the scenes
Oh,
here.
so
Like,
So you're suggesting that they're trying to create like buzz for a new Netflix movie. Maybe they're trying to create a story.
I just think, isn't this a script that writes
Yeah,
itself? Like
that's what's happening.
the
Yeah.
beleaguered venture
Well,
capitalist on the
yeah.
board. The shareholders hate him, but he's a lovable guy. He's super smart. They finally vote against him. He hands in his resignation and he says, "I think it's time." And then that's your cliffhanger until the next episode when he himself has to consider his own resignation and then says, "It's not time. Let's do this." And then like
That's a
cue
boring
like
movie, yeah.
it's not a movie. That's a Netflix
Yeah.
show.
Here's the other part that's fun that I just noticed this morning while digging around. On June 5th, a day before the meeting, he sold $40 million of shares. He got $40 million. This is the lead independent director. $40 million of
Look,
shares.
director
A
compensation.
day before he got voted out. A day before.
Director compensation is one of the least discussed and most egregious things because the company like gives you 1 year vesting because it's generally an annual election, so they can give you just a 1 year vest. They tend to give it to you at like the price they give it to you is cheap for that 1 year. If you just get market returns, they give you a stipend, several $100,000 as a stipend to show up to the meetings, which Jay couldn't even do.
Yeah.
If you just do market returns, you're getting often multiples on your stipend. If you hold the stock throughout your tenure, you don't execute necessarily, you're getting a lot of money. We're talking about Robin Denholm is a 3/4 of a billionaire as a result of just letting Elon Musk do whatever he wants.
Yeah, just sitting around and watching the
So-
stock price go up.
No one talks about how much these directors get for effectively doing whatever management says. Remembering that this is a board with Reed Hastings, Ted Sarandos, Leslie Kilgore, and Greg Peters, all of whom are or were company employees. Like a third of the board basically is Netflix. So all you got to do, Jay, is show up. You couldn't do that, and you still got paid $40 million.
I just wish they would televise on Netflix a live feed of that nomination committee where he decides his own fate. I just want to watch that. I want to see what he says and does.
Netflix should be live streaming all of their board meetings. That'd be
All right,
great.
that's the third story of the week. Oh, speaking of that, I have a story about that later on. My fourth story, this is the ultra nerdy story of the week. I like to highlight these stories just because I do, and also because I didn't know what else to pick this week. The headline is Why Companies with More Female Board Members Have Better Workplace Safety. So that's the conclusion from a paper written by a couple of professors from Notre Dame and someone from Villanova. The paper is called From the Boardroom to the Job Site, Female Board Representation in Workplace Safety. Looked at the data from 266 companies and determined that the number of workplace accidents and injuries were lower at businesses that had higher number of women on their boards. Now, the only caveat here is they looked at data from 2002 to 2011. I don't know why so old. Why are they looking at data that's so old? I don't really know.
Well, typically, first of all, the workplace data probably sucked then too. Like that's when we were at the mothership, and
Right.
not a lot of people
this
disclose
is
that.
government and corporate worker safety data, so it's probably already difficult to
But
weed
second
through.
of all, the academics always lag because if you're like a massive data provider like MSCI or Sustainalytics, you're not giving them like your cutting edge new data. You're
Well,
basically like,
I thought
"Well,
that
why don't you go back to our old database and find something?"
But I thought that these places typically sell to like libraries.
Yeah, but
academic
you don't make enough
libraries.
money. The libraries all get it for like $12 and a bag of popcorn.
They
So-
get the dusty data, the dusty.
yeah, so they give
redacted
them the
data.
dusty data.
It's
They
covered
give them
with
the,
Cheetos dust.
the old dusty data.
Yeah, just
All right, so
academics.
I've got 4 options here. Boeing, Starbucks, Netflix, and female board members have better workplace safety. I can't in good conscience call a story of the week data from 2011, right? Like
but
I really can't.
yeah, that's
It's
true.
more like they had a finding
The paper's new.
14 years after the
Yeah.
data. So that leaves me with Netflix, Starbucks, and Boeing. I'm not going to do Netflix. I like Netflix as a story, but we already covered it so much this week that I don't want to
Sure.
cover it.
Plus, especially since we know he's not going anywhere.
Which means I have to choose between hiring baristas and a massive plane crash with 300
Oh.
people dead.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I
Well,
have to
once
go with.
we had a survivor though.
We did, but I do have to go with Boeing, in part because even if this isn't found to be Boeing, even if it's not Boeing's fault, Boeing kicked this company off in a lot of ways by being so horrible and so compromised at the board level. Like the lawsuit against Elon Musk's pay package, his pay package was, billions of dollars, $40 billion, right? If Dave Calhoun was granted a $1 billion pay package, you could have sued that board every single year from 2011 until the day he retired as being fully compromised and in the pocket of Dave Calhoun, right? Like you could have easily made the same exact case that you had at Tesla at Boeing. And because of that, we've been tracking that company for so long. This is just another, it's not even like it doesn't even have to be their fault now. All they have to be is adjacent. They could have been one worker from Boeing looking out the window at Air India, and they probably would have found a way to blame it on Boeing somehow. That's how bad the company is.
Yeah, because this kills their run of good news because they really kissed up to Donald Trump this year, so they've gotten some benefit from that. Like they sold a bunch of planes to Qatar, and something else happened that.
Well, they didn't have to.
The Department of Justice.
Dropped the criminal charge.
Yeah, so
7 minutes after they drop a criminal charge, a plane falls out of the sky.
That's horrible. Horrible.
And they're effectively killing all regulation of these things, right? Like the FAA is been cut. So
the people have been the regulators, the people who run those jobs are being fired, aren't they? I mean, are there people around to inspect anything anymore?
They're firing everybody. They fired people who actually are in control towers, like telling the planes where to land, right? Like let's move on. This is not great. But that's the story of the week for sure. All right, should we do good list?
Yeah, let's pick it up a bit.
This show's always a real upper.
Mine's not a downer.
Mine's not either.
Yeah, maybe
mine's a little ironic. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe mine's just stupid.
Well, I'll do mine first because yours is probably better. I saw this headline and I just smiled. So it's more like smiliest of the week. McDonald's downgraded on GLP-1 drug worries. Wall Street's top analyst calls. I just like the idea that in the midst of there was another headline you pulled earlier this week about McDonald's chicken strips, McStrips, chicken strips. What were they called? Strippies?
Yeah, McStrip. Yeah, who cares?
They don't taste good. Like no, people don't actually like them. I like the idea that like America has decided that we would take a drug to be thin and not go to McDonald's. I like that. Isn't that good? That feels good. Makes me smile.
Yeah, sure. It's great.
What's yours?
I don't know what this drug. I don't even get this drug. How did it did they even test this drug? Do they test drugs anymore? Do they test the long-term effects of this stuff?
No, they only test vaccines, but now no one's going to take those.
I was going to actually include that story because idiot Supreme RFK Jr. Fired the entire panel that oversees vaccines in America, part of the CDC, I believe. And I was going to kind of incorporate it as kind of like a board story, like firing a whole board. But I was like, that's too much of a stretch. But
I think he brought a couple of them back and then just replaced the rest with
a bunch of skeptics.
Yeah.
My story of the week is kind of good and maybe bad. This is the headline. Rubrik CEO let 800 employees sit in on board meetings, and he says it supercharged the company. Okay, first of all, I love the idea of opening up board meetings, especially to employees. I've long advocated that there should at least be one employee representative on all U.S. company boards. I'm not suggesting half the board like they do in Germany. That seems kind of ridiculous, but although who am I to say? Maybe it's not ridiculous, but at least one. I think we should actually represent all stakeholder groups, but one employee would be great. Now, we have to take his word for, of course, that it supercharged the company.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I couldn't find any actual proof of that. And the other problem is that I guess they kind of stopped doing it right around when they IPO'd, which is kind of concerning. So the company became public, and then they're like, yeah, okay, you can't come to the meetings anymore.
There's a
But
legal reason for that, though.
uh, uh, and then the other thing I was looking at is that this board is full of founders, full of CEOs and chairs and executives, and also there's only one woman on the board. So I'm thinking this company is maybe this is more of a PR stunt, but I don't know, I kind of liked it. I kind of like the idea of it.
I like the way that you just put that up for good list
I
and then
killed it.
undermine the whole story. Like I don't
Well,
even know what to feel anymore.
I was disappointed because this is one of it seems to be one of very few companies that is not in our database. I know we have thousands of companies.
It IPO'd just over a year ago,
So maybe it's not in
It's
MSCI's.
just not in
Maybe it's
MSCI's database, which means
Yeah.
it doesn't make its way into ours.
It will be soon. So, but anyway, in theory, I think this is amazing. At a minimum, I wish that American companies would report board activities like they do in Europe. Europe, at least, they give you kind of a itemized agenda of the board meetings, like what they're talking about, and here they give you nothing. They don't tell you.
I want them
anything.
to live stream it. I think
That'd be
they should
great.
live stream all of them. I think it should
Yeah.
be open to the public. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
And just bleep out all the swears if you're worried about it.
What about the Me Too inappropriate jokes made by
you gotta
most
leave
of the
that
men?
in, yeah.
You got to leave
Yeah.
that in, right?
that's my
who
good
wins
list.
Goodliest?
Oh God, I don't know.
Now I feel like mine wins because you undermined yours so much.
No,
I like
mine-
the idea of yours,
mine
but
in
mine's
theory-
actually good
mine in theory wins. Why is yours good? Because
no one's going to
weight loss drugs?
McDonald's.
Okay, let's give yours a win.
Yeah, correct. Mine wins. All right, let's move on to Assholiest. We're making some time. Good time
Good,
today.
good.
I got three asshole options. It's
Al-
actually
already a winner. Usually you have like 9.
it's actually only one story with
Oh.
3 potential assholes to
This
choose
is
from.
perfect. This is perfect.
So
Yeah,
here's
kind
the
of a
here's
Seven
the
Samurai.
story.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
this I like the different perspectives. Yeah. Here's the story. Texas removes BlackRock from energy boycott blacklist. That's the
Okay.
story.
Great. Yeah.
There are 3 elements here to choose from. Number 1, obviously.
I'd be proud. But by the way, I'd be proud to stay on that blacklist. I hope we're on that blacklist.
No, we're not. Number 1, obviously, is Texas, right? They're the first sort of protagonist here.
Yeah.
But you actually, you could choose BlackRock because BlackRock didn't get removed because Texas decided BlackRock was great. BlackRock got removed for a myriad of other reasons, most of which were sucking up.
Yeah, because they bent the knee. Yeah.
And then you have the idea of a boycott blacklist at all, this discrimination against a company
Yeah.
in
Isn't
capital
that
markets.
woke? Isn't that like I thought Republicans didn't do stuff like that?
I mean, it's
Isn't
a
that
capital allocation
anti-capitalist
decision.
nonsense?
So if I invest only in like healthcare companies, I'm discriminating against companies that make Scotch tape, right? Like it's capital markets, it's allocation.
Yeah. So they're doing the most ESG thing because they hate ESG.
So here's your first option reason,
Okay,
Texas. So Texas, lest we forget, in 2022, Texas banned government entities from doing business with firms that boycott fossil fuels. That's
Yeah, it
what.
was like, I would
what they
call
wanted to
this,
do.
I would call this the era of the 2022 is really the start of the political theater. I'd call it because a lot of it's disingenuous, but this is kind of like the start of all the political theater against wokey kind of right ESG kind of stuff.
So at the time, Texas put BlackRock and then about 15 international banks they didn't do business with on their boycott list.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
But there were full page ads. There were like weren't there like anti Larry Fink billboards? It was
yeah,
all about
yeah.
Larry
There was
Fink.
a moment in
They
time.
loved showing his face. They loved saying his name. It was all about Larry Fink.
But so BlackRock basically was the only one they really targeted. And then they spent a lot of time, BlackRock spent a lot of time trying to convince Texas, saying things like, it's patently absurd that we discriminate against fossil fuels as the largest fossil fuel investor on Earth. We have the
That's
most
kind of a-
shares in fossil fuel
That's
companies.
kind of a oily mic drop moment, is it not?
It did not win the argument,
No,
though.
it didn't. No.
But fast forward to 2025, BlackRock's now removed in part because Larry Fink shows up at a conference in Texas to talk about how much they love fossil fuels. Larry Fink spent a lot of time like kind of kissing up to the Trump
Do you think he
administration.
was wearing cowboy boots and a big 10-gallon hat at that meeting?
I mean, probably
Yeah,
pretty
Spurs.
close.
Yeah.
But then this is what drove me over the edge with Texas's assholery this week. there are two headlines. First, bills that could have hurt renewable energy die in the Texas legislature.
Okay,
Meaning,
that's good, right?
meaning Texas is actually supporting renewable energy in Texas.
Because they're making bank on it, right?
And Texas finalizes $1.8 billion to build solar, battery, and gas-powered microgrids.
Crazy.
Texas is the leader in the country in renewable energy generation by a long shot. And they've nearly doubled renewable generation since 2019. In just 6 years, they've nearly doubled their entire renewable capacity. It now is 30% of all energy created in Texas is renewable, solar or wind.
Which is good. I mean, it's good too, right? I mean,
Texas, you have to fucking ban yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you're boycotting fossil fuels yourself because it makes sense. Not because there's some discrimination against fossil fuels. You effectively got BlackRock, who manages 0.4% of their money, is your money. Like some insignificant amount of money in their AUM is you. You got them to bend the knee to you and show up all the time in Texas and kiss your ass and back you're one of the original backers of the new exchange that they're setting up in Texas because now BlackRock is really just Texas rock. It's like it's always been a thing. You got them to do that. Meanwhile, at the same time, you're discriminating all the kabuki theater. You're doing it. You're the one who's boycotting oil and gas.
Lest anyone think this is like a miracle of Democratic gerrymandering in Texas, the state house in Texas is still controlled by the Republicans, 83 to 67. Same with the Texas State Senate. So these are Republicans making this decision.
Republicans who are banning oil and gas in their own state by transitioning to a cleaner, more effective, more efficient, cheaper fuel source.
Yeah.
It makes total sense, but you assholes, like
the political theater of it is madness.
You think we're not paying attention to both the things that come out of your mouth and then what you're doing? Come on.
Yeah. Well, they learned from the president.
So that's option number one, Texas.
That's Texas is option. Yeah.
The main protagonist in the story.
Yeah.
Now, the story is Texas removes BlackRock from energy boycott blacklist. So we got to talk about BlackRock as option number two. Okay. BlackRock. Here's actually the quote from BlackRock in response to being banned by Texas. Quote: BlackRock does not boycott fossil fuels. Investing over $100 billion in Texas energy companies on behalf of our clients proves that. $100 billion they've invested.
Yeah, that
was in 2022.
That should have been the end of the story for BlackRock. They should have told Texas to go F themselves.
Why you didn't leave? You should have
it.
just left.
Like you're idiots. You're doing this for political theater. You're trying to confuse your constituents. Look what all the money you're pouring into renewables. You're just trying. This is just political fodder. You're throwing red meat at your voters. That's all you're doing.
Why don't you just say, fine, we're banned in Texas. We'll no longer do business with you, which means we're not going to finance either oil and gas because we're one of the biggest financiers of it, or we're not going to finance your renewables, which is the biggest, increasingly one of the largest portions of your own state's energy.
I would think if they made that decision to withdraw the $100 billion that you talked about investing in energy companies, that Texas would blink, would it not?
100%, they would have blinked. I don't know why we keep bending the knee.
Why
does everybody bend the knee? Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's what Fink wrote to clients, not the CEO letter. This is his client letter in 2020. Our role as a fiduciary is the foundation of BlackRock's culture. The commitments we are making today, those commitments being sustainability and climate change commitments, reflect our conviction that all investors, and particularly the millions of our clients who are saving for long-term goals like retirement, must seriously consider sustainability in their investments. That's what Larry Fink said.
Well, I will say this, though.
In 2020.
Not to rain your parade. Jamie Dimon, there was a article out today or yesterday about Jamie Dimon. He only reads the CEO letters from certain CEOs because he thinks most of them are bullshit.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's not Larry Fink is not on the list. He only reads from Warren Buffett, who's now gone. Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, and then Jeff Bezos, who doesn't do the letters anymore. So,
So
sorry,
really just
Larry.
reads Andy
Sorry.
Jassy. Why don't you
So
just call Andy Jassy, ask what he thinks?
Maybe like Jamie, maybe Texas didn't read Larry Fink's letter.
I'm pretty sure that's true. But
Yeah.
here's a headline from just this week. As EU acts to stop greenwash, funds drop climate claims from their names. An email BlackRock sent to clients on March 18th, although it just leaked today
Really?
or this week, which it shared with Climate Home, said it responded to ESMA naming guidelines. These are the new naming guidelines. You can't call yourself the ESG Wonder Sustainability Fund if you don't actually do that thing, right?
Yeah.
By changing the name of 56 funds worth $51 billion to drop sustainability terms. As an example, it gave was dropping ESG from the BSF Systematic ESG World Equity Fund.
Even that is dumb in the first place. Like, why is that? What does that prove?
It's so
ESG
dumb.
It's just a set of data. Like, what is it? What is the win there?
And what are you shoving it into the name BSF Systematic ESG World Equity Fund? What the hell does that do? Like, what is that
they
fund
really-
even?
Do they really think they're investors who see the word ESG and they think like it represents like Mother Teresa or something? Like it's going to save all babies and flowers?
So BlackRock on one hand is talking about how sustainable they are in 2020. They're kissing Texas's ass now to like they love oil and gas. They love it so much. They have to drop sustainability from their name. And now they're actually seeking a dismissal of Texas's antitrust case over coal production. Because they've proven how much they just love to suck on oil and gas.
They
It's
love
just
it. Yeah, they
delicious.
love it.
It's just so good. And then finally for BlackRock, this just drove me nuts too. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink not leaving anytime soon.
Okay.
In an interview in a conference in Toronto, he said that he has no plans to step down as CEO. Did you forget you have a board? It's actually not your decision, right?
Come on, you're being cute. Yeah.
Oh, right. It is his decision.
What does freeflowanalytics.com say about his influence?
It's really hard to say. They're actually not on freeflowanalytics.com, I think, right now.
Why is that?
But because BlackRock has compromised.
Oh, because they own MSCI.
The problem we have with them, even when it was up, which was like a couple months ago, was that they have not one but 3 founders on the board, and they have like 2 executives from the company on the board, and they own 6.7% of themselves in stock.
Yeah. Larry is just doing a Jamie. Larry likes to parrot because Jamie. We make fun of Jamie Dimon because every headline is Jamie Dimon says so. Jamie has been going around telling everyone the same thing, like he's not leaving, and he doesn't have a boss, and so I think Larry's just parroting Jamie here because we know that it's up to Larry and Jamie when they leave.
Yeah, they leave when they feel.
But
like
you're
it.
Right to point out that it really is the board's decision.
It's supposed to be the board's decision. So
be.
when you stand in a conference and you're like, "I'm not leaving,"
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Aren't you supposed to say, if I'm lucky, the board and our investors will think I'm doing a great job and I'll stay as long as I can? Like, that's the answer.
nice.
You don't say, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The investors own your company and the board are their representatives. They can fire you for sucking. They're supposed to be able to do that. So number 2 option is BlackRock. Number 3 option, my last option.
Yeah. So Texas, BlackRock, and number 3. What's number 3?
And the third option is the metaphysical one. The boycott, blacklist, discrimination in capital markets, discriminating against like a sector or a company somehow. I can't get over that this idea even exists. Like, how can you pass legislation that says you've discriminated against fossil fuels? Here is the headline that made me like. This is the headline this week about discrimination in capital markets.
Does that mean I've been discriminating against McDonald's for so many years because
that's what I'm saying. This is what it's insane about it. Where does this stop?
It's like it's a hate crime basically because I don't go to Burger King, I don't go to Arby's.
Well, I pulled this headline. Canadian tourists to the U.S. down nearly 40% in May. New data says. Can we sue Canada because they're discriminating against traveling to the United States?
Yeah, let's not sue Donald Trump for making them hate us. Let's sue Canada for not
We
coming.
should sue Canada.
Yeah.
Or X's new sales pitch. Give us your ad business or we'll sue.
Oh, I hate this.
Here's a quote from the article. Last year, Verizon Communications got an unusual message from X. Spend your ad dollars with us or we'll see you in court.
That's crazy.
It worked. Verizon, which hasn't advertised on X since 2022, pledged to spend at least $10 million this year on the platform.
Insanity.
This is just to remind you, 2023. Here's a headline. Elon Musk did this at a conference. Elon, after personally driving away advertisers, tell them to go fuck themselves repeatedly and says Earth will judge them for killing X/Twitter.
What?
Do you remember when he was on the conference and he said, you think you can blackmail me by,
Earth?
leaving my platform? Fuck you. I don't want your money. Now
Yeah,
he's
I do remember
suing
that.
them for
Yeah.
their money, and they're coming back. They're
This is
coming
crazy.
back. Why are you coming back? What are
I
you
don't know.
doing? There's
I don't
still
know.
Nazis on there. There's more Nazis on there than there were in 2023.
What is X anymore? Is it's just like baseball highlights and Nazis? Like what else? What is happening? It's just
I don't
sports
understand
and-
it. It's like 7 journalists and a bunch of Nazis. That's
yeah,
it.
It's crazy to me. Yeah.
And-
These are that's
And if you don't go on X, so I'm not on social media. Am I discriminating against social media?
yeah, probably.
Where's the line here? Like, so if I don't use everything ever done, you know what? BlackRock, you're not a client of ours right now. You're discriminating against governance data.
Yeah, we'll sue you if you don't.
I'm going to sue.
become our
What if we
client.
file lawsuits against everyone who's not a client of ours?
That'd be a long list. Yeah.
Like, but that's
We'd be very busy.
insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Although I like
even
this.
the idea of the boycott list is insane.
Yeah. By the way, BlackRock, I love you. You should be our client.
So those are your 3 options: Texas, BlackRock, and the insanity of these boycott
Now-
discrimination.
Which of this is the most like relevant to this week?
So
what
the
prompted
story is
Texas.
all this week, right? Texas
Okay.
removed BlackRock from energy boycott blacklist,
That
which
was
means
this
they're
week.
maintaining the blacklist. They still have it. BlackRock was on it, but now is off. So it's now just populated by European people that they don't actually use. And Texas, the renewable energy stuff, that's all from this week, and the removal is this week. So
Here's
it's
my
a lot.
here's my highly intelligent way of analyzing the situation. First of all, I don't want to talk about Elon Musk anymore today, so
Oh,
that
okay.
one loses. Second of all, Larry Fink is rich enough without me, and I wish he would become our client because once he becomes our client, I'm gonna bend the knee and say that everything he does is lovely and perfect and smells like flowers. But the real the Texas thing makes me nuts. It's the political theater part of the angle of this, where because the end game of this really is you're constantly throwing misinformation at your constituents. You're driving your constituents nuts by saying one thing while doing the other. We live in this world. This world we live in it's incredulous how insincere we are about everything. Right? It makes me nuts. I mean, and I've been screaming this for years. If you believe in a capitalist America, a capitalist whatever Western world, why can't we just agree to make money off of renewables together? Why do we have to shun it? Why can't Texas just say it's good business, it's good for the environment, our young people want it, whatever? Just like support it. Why? Because it's making money off. Why this duplicitous political theater? It makes me crazy.
The worst part about the theater
Yeah.
is, and this is the same thing that Trump just did with the tariffs, where we are now, like they just announced today, they have a framework of a structure of an outline of an agreement with China about trade. What we effectively are doing is we are looking at a thing, saying like, what is it right now? Then we make a big stink about something. It's all theater, only to get back to exactly the way we are right now. Nothing changed in Texas.
Yeah. Well,
Not one thing changed.
I guess it's easier than actually governing, just to make a little bit of noise and
So
throw
what
your jazz
the
hands up.
only ones who benefit from this
Yeah.
are politicians who make the noise. like
Yeah.
the like who are savvy enough to put out these press releases and give press conferences and show up on TikTok and say things like the woke libs are doing this,
Yeah, look what
or
BlackRock did. Yeah.
or like look at the horrible conservatives and what they're doing. All we end up with is status quo. It's just a status quo machine. It's just a loudness
Texas.
machine.
I'm voting for Texas.
In Texas, it is. Oh, we're making good time. Let's wrap this up. We got headlines,
do it.
winners, predictions.
I'm gonna go first on my headline of the week because it's just patently ridiculous.
I think
That
it's the
I-
best headline of the
that,
week.
that I would even find this or like it speaks not only to my lack of intelligence, but to the utter thoroughness of our headlines. Right? I mean that this can exist. So these both headlines came this week. I have two headlines. BJ's Restaurant announces Lyle D. Tick as new president and CEO. And then this headline, ZRG appoints interim talent trailblazer Liz Dick to board of directors. So Liz Dick
You are-
and Lyle Tick.
You're so juvenile.
Didn't I make a joke about basically like tile dick?
Yeah,
I made
yeah, in our Tuesday show.
in our
yeah.
Tuesday show, and then like a day later, Liz Dick is taking over, and it's not because of that name. I just like the rhyme. Maybe it is because of that.
It is because of the name. That'll be ridiculous.
I just like the rhyming. I like the brevity of those names. Anyway, I spent
Here's
a lot
my-
of time looking at headlines, so I need something to make me happy.
Oh, you pulled this one. I see the headline I like. Hulk Hogan
Oh,
wants to reimagine Hooters restaurant
oh,
as his real American beer brand makes a new bid to save the chain.
Oh,
I
sounds
just
horrible.
But it's just it's fabulously ridiculous.
all of
How-
it. How
how
about
do you-
listening to Hulk Hogan as a business leader? How about
That
that?
every piece. If you unpack that, every part of that sentence
Guy's
is
a
nuts,
moron,
right?
Yeah.
But just on his face, how do you reimagine Hooters exactly? Like, what is the new
Like
imagined?
something to do with like men's balls, like testicles.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know.
Steroid-induced testicles.
It's really confusing to me what the reimagination is.
And
like-
real American beer. Do we need that name? That
Well,
name's
can you
terrible.
imagine if he walked into like they buy the brand and he's like, my idea for this is women with larger breasts than before, right? Like,
Hul-
what is what are you reimagining? It's a shitty dive.
And Hulk, Hulk,
Come
I hate
on.
to break it to you. Take a trip to Portland, Maine. There are like 700 real American beers everywhere. Like we have so many microbrewers here. It's basically our number one industry when you walk around Portland at night. So I hate to break it to you, Hulk, but they're already making beer everywhere. Everyone's
it's
making
everywhere.
beer.
It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
And you know what? It's American.
It's all American. Yeah, turns
sorry.
out.
Yeah.
You have a winner of the week.
My winner's short and sweet for the trifecta. Jay Hogue. He
Ooh.
he not only does he ignore shareholders, he ignores shareholders while selling his shares.
I
and,
like that.
And
yeah.
while pretending to be independent.
Yeah, it's a win
It's
all
a
the way. You're right.
trifecta.
You're right. He might be the winner.
Right?
I have a bizarre winner,
Oh,
a
go
winner
ahead.
that doesn't know they're the winner.
Yeah.
There's a Polish investor named
Polish
Slava.
investor. Is Poland still a country? Okay.
It still is, I think. Slava Smolakowski
Sure, of course. Slava,
actually went out and bought Polaroid. Polaroid, the old cameras. You know,
Sure.
like the brand Polaroid, that he owns it.
yeah. Okay.
Given that Texas is pushing BlackRock to its knees for discriminating against oil, and Robbie Starbuck is winning the war on discrimination against white men, and Elon's winning the money for discriminating against Nazi platforms, apparently, given that all of these things are winning, doesn't Polaroid have a chance to sue Apple for discriminating against cameras with its phones?
Ooh, I like this. Yeah.
They could sue the state of Texas for divesting from Polaroid in 2001 when they declared bankruptcy. Like, how dare you divest from me just because we're bankrupt? They could sue the U.S. public
Yes.
for not buying cameras that print on flimsy, pieces of
Love it.
plastic anymore. You got to get creative, companies. Start suing everyone who made any decision that resulted in you having less money.
Speaking of Robbie Starbuck, I should make another. I have a prediction this week, but here's a sub prediction because you mentioned Robbie Starbuck. He's the quote unquote citizen journalist who basically hates everything that's not like a
Yeah, we're citizen journalists
cisgendered
too, I
male,
think, yeah.
white, heterosexual. Everyone tweaks him. In the Netflix proxy statement, there is a picture of some of the most famous shows from the year. One of them being Baby Reindeers, which was one of my favorite shows of the year, featuring a picture of a trans actress. Robbie, there's
Oh
a trans person
no!
right in. So I mean, this is bigger news than Bud Light, right? It's right in the proxies. A big picture of a trans actress. I mean, what are you gonna do, Robbie?
Somebody's got to tell
we gotta
Robbie
get
what
rid
a
of Netflix,
proxy
right?
is
We
first,
gotta get rid,
and then
we gotta get
yeah.
rid of Netflix, right? We
Yeah.
just have to. We have to, Robbie. Come on. All right.
That wasn't even your prediction.
That wasn't even my prediction. It just made me think of that. That I feel like I don't know how nobody's noticed that. That just seems so egregious. How dare they? How dare they? My prediction is this. It's a bit long. Okay, bear with me. I'm staying with the J Hogue story. Okay, so J Hogue does not attend the nomination committee meeting, which is meant to accept or reject his resignation. Because as we
He's
know,
busy.
he doesn't go to meetings much anymore.
Yeah, he's
so
busy.
he doesn't go. But since the other three committee members are way too scared to act without him, they kind of just sit around and they talk about Netflix's upcoming season of Stranger Things. Or maybe they talk about Baby Reindeer. I don't know. They do that
Probably
for
not.
They do that for like 45 minutes until Brad Smith, one of the nominating committee members, a director on the, he's an executive at
At Microsoft, yeah.
He gets a text from J Hogue, which simply reads this: reject. So that's it. They're going to reject his
That's
resignation.
it. They
He's
they
gonna
figured
stay
it
on the
out.
board.
He
Yeah.
figured it out. That's a good
Yeah.
prediction.
All right.
My prediction is
Actually,
darker.
that will come true, by the way.
That's absolutely happening. My prediction is darker.
Oh no.
It's just Dave Calhoun boomerangs back to Boeing to save the day after this crash. How soon before someone's calling Dave Calhoun and saying, "Dave, what should we do about this?"
Well, maybe they already are. Actually, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's going to come back. He's going to be a special advisor to the board
But
first.
they're going
and
to
then-
blame Kelly Ortberg for this one, though.
Oh yeah. As fast as possible. It's got to be
All right.
Kelly's fault,
My head's
right?
spinning a little bit on that.
That's it. That's Hazelnut Rawlis. I'm your analyst, Toll Matt Muscardi. We are Free Float. That was our wrap of the week. We'll be back next week. We got a show on Tuesday, like every Tuesday. We got a proxy countdown coming next week, like every week. We got this. Honestly,
when do you
there's
go on
so
vacation,
much
brother?
information.
When do you leave?
The week after. So,
Okay, so we have one more week, and then we'll give people
one
a
more
break.
week, and then we got a summer break
Thank God.
for everyone involved. Until then, goodbye.